Hi everyone, lesson 6.2, paying back borrowed money. So I hope by now you completed the warm-up questions. And if not, please pause the video and answer the questions, and you can reference our answers key or my answers here. So calculating payments on borrowed money. Compounding interest earns you more on investments than simple interest. When you need to borrow money, compounding interest will cost you more than paying simple interest. If it costs you more, it means that the lender earns more. And in this section, you will use technology to investigate the cost of borrowing money. There are many different online calculators. They are programmed to work in a similar manner as a TVM solver. And TVM solver is what we will be using. Okay, so the first part here is not applicable for online TVM app, which is what we are going to use. And let's start with the first example. In number 4, on page 152, Brett borrowed $3,000 from a bank to buy his first car. The bank charged him 9% interest, compounded monthly. Compounded monthly, meaning 12 times a year, right? On a personal loan to be repaid in monthly payments over 3 years. So now we're gonna understand each parameter, what to enter into the TVM solver. So N is now the number of payments. And the number of payments is 36, right? 3 years. What is the interest rate? We are told it's 9%. PV stands for present value. The PV of a loan is the amount borrowed. So PV in this case equals $3,000. PMT stands for payment. This is the value we wish to calculate. So we will let PMT be 0 for now. And the future value is FV is the future value. Of the loan after all of the payments are made. So FV equals 0. In this case, we're paying the entire loan within 3 years, right? Payments per year. PY is for payments per year. And since Brett is making monthly payments, set PY equals 12. Let's write it again here. Payments per year, 12. And then CY is the number of times the interest is compounded in 1 year. So CY equals 12. In this case, we are being told it is compounded monthly. Okay. And this is not relevant. The other 3 lines are not relevant to us because this has to do with using a regular calculator. We are using a TVM solver, something else, another app. And after you set all the variables, the program in the calculator does the work and completes the calculation. So let's do that now. Let's plug in. This is the TVM solver. And you have a link for the loan calculations available in the descriptions for today's lesson. Okay, so you have the link for these two in the description for today's lesson. And with regards to our question, okay, so we know that n is 3 years times 12. It calculated for you, or you can just plug in 36. Interest rate, you do not have to put it in a decimal form here. You show it in percent, so 9. Present value, we know that Brett borrowed $3,000, right? PMT is what we are about to calculate. Payments per year, 12. Compounded 12 times a year, because it's compounded monthly. Future value is 0, we leave it at 0, and then you press this button and we solve it for PMT. So we got negative 95.4. Okay. $95.4. We press the PMT and it solved it for us, right? Notice that the answer is negative, right? Here we had negative 95.4. The TVM solver distinguishes between money received, showing it is a positive sign, and money given, which is negative. So the negative value makes sense, since each payment is money that Brett gives up, right? It goes out of his pocket, and that's why it's negative. Okay, now you can compare the answer with your answer for number 4 in section 6.1 in the previous lesson on page 152. And I believe there it was given to us, 95.4. We calculated it now correctly. So as mentioned, the link for the loan is available. The TVM solver is available for you if you look at today's lesson. Now let's use it again. Let's use a TVM solver or an online calculator to determine the monthly payment in the following situations. Assume interest on all loans is compounded monthly. So we already know monthly is 12 times per year. And let's start with the first. So 2,000, 8%, and 2 years. 2 years is 24 payments. Interest given to us was 8%. Amount borrowed, $2,000. And payments per year and compounded per year 12 times. And when we press solve for PMT, PMT stands for payment, it's 90.45. So let's update that in our table. $90.45 per month. Okay, the next example is with $5,000 borrowed, 8.5% interest rate and 3 years. So we already know that 3 years is a total of 36 payments. Interest rate, 8.5% in this example. Amount borrowed was $5,000. And payment per year and compounded per year remains 12. So we're getting 157.84. It's negative because he has to pay it, but we are showing it as a payment. So we are showing 157.84. So remember, the sign is simply telling us whether it's money coming in or money that you pay, money going into your bank account or out of your bank account. Next example is $10,000, 9.5% interest, for 5 years. 5 years, how many months? I just type 5 times 12, 60 months. Interest rate now is 9.5. Amount that he borrowed, $10,000 in this case. And we're getting 210.02 and 2 cents. Let's update that in our table. So 210 and 2.02. The last example, similar conditions, right? But the interest rate is much lower, 1.9%. So we know that the only thing we have to change here is the interest rate. And we're getting a lower amount per month, 174. .84. So look at the payments in part C and D. C and D. How important is the interest rate to you when you need a personal loan? So as you can see, it's very important because you're paying significantly less when the interest rate is lower. So we'll circle that. And we will explain that the lower the interest, the less you will pay back. Right? You see, 174 is less than 210, almost $35, a little bit more than $35 difference every month. Okay, use the monthly payments you found in question number 1 above. Calculate the total amount needed to repay each loan in number 1 and the total interest paid over the life of each loan. So life of each loan is the same as saying term of the loan. Okay. So we can see what the amounts, the monthly amounts were, right? Here above, 90.45 was the monthly amount. In the case of borrowing $2K, $2,000. Number of payments was 24, right? 2 years, 24 months, 24 payments. Total amount paid, you simply multiply the number of payments by the monthly payment to get, in this case, it's 2170. Here we can copy down 157.84, and in C it was 10K. The monthly payment we calculated using the TVM solver was 210 and 2 cents. And in the case of the lower interest rate, TVM solver calculated for us 174.84. And the number of payments were 36 months, 60, and 60. Right? And again, to calculate the number of months, we took the years times 12, 3 times 12. Right? So if we multiply here again 36 times 157.84, we can use a calculator and see that it's 5682.16. Case C, borrowing 10K, 12,601, 12, and with lower interest, multiplying 60 by 174, we get $10,490.43. And the total interest paid is the total amount repaid minus the amount borrowed. Right? The difference is the amount we paid just for interest. Here it's 170.91, 682.16 in the second case, 2,601 in the third case, and the fourth one, interestingly, much lower compared to the third, right? And again, to calculate that, we took 10,490.43, subtracted from that the amount borrowed. That's how we got 490.43. Okay, moving on to look at the last two columns in part C and D. How important is the interest rate when you require a personal loan? Circle your answer. So we can see again, it's very important, right? The difference is significant in the total amount we're paying. So we'll circle that and explain our answer. That the lower the interest rate, the less you will have to pay back. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at the next example. So Eden recently graduated from high school. She works full-time and just moved out on her own. Eden purchased $1,700 worth of furniture, HST not included, for her apartment from a furniture retailer that offered no payments for a year. Payment in full is required 1 year from the day that Eden bought the furniture. Otherwise, monthly compound interest starts accumulating at 27.9%. So calculate the after-tax cost of the furniture. Let's do that first, right? Because they're telling us that HST is not included in the 1,700. So to do that, to add 13% for HST, which is what is being charged, we have to multiply 1,700, which is before tax, times 1.13. Which is 1921. Use a TVM solver to determine Eden's monthly payment using the furniture store's financing plan. The loan is to be repaid over 2 years. So what do we know? We know that she can pay monthly, so 2 years is 24 months. We know the interest rate is 27.9. The present value, PV stands for present value, is 1921, right? Because that's the total amount she has to pay for the furniture. And the future value is 0 because at the end of the term, she will pay by the end of the term, she'll pay the entire amount. We have 12 payments per year and it's compounded monthly, so 12 times per year. Okay, let's calculate that now. So this is what we have to plug in. 24 months, 27.9%. 1921 is the cost. 12 is already updated here as the payments per year. So if we solve it, the payment we get for PMT, 105.34. Okay, so let's update that here now. $105.34 will be her monthly payments. And calculate the total amount to be repaid. So we know Eden has to pay this for 24 months. We know the monthly payments. Have to be multiplied Let's zoom in again. We know monthly payments have to be multiplied by the number of months, right? Or in this case, number of payments. So take 105.34 times 24. Use your calculator to get 2,528.16. Calculate the interest paid over the life of this loan. So the interest, if we remember, it's the total amount paid minus the borrowed amount, right? It's how much more we paid, more than we borrowed. It went towards the interest rate. That's why we take the total amount paid, 28.16 minus 1921. Remember, this was the furniture cost plus HST. And the difference is 607.16. That's the amount we paid for interest over the life or the term of the loan. Life of the loan is also another way of saying term of the loan. Now, Eden could apply for a personal loan from the financial institution that she deals with. The interest rate for a 2-year personal loan is 2.5%. Calculate the monthly payment for Eden's loan. So in the case of 9.5%, let's go to our solver. See what we get. The interest rate is much lower, right? Instead of 27.9, it's now 9%. $9.5 actually. So let's go correct that. 5, so for PMT, we're getting the monthly payment will be 88.2. Let's update that. Calculate the monthly payment, 88.2. Calculate the total amount to be repaid. If you multiply that by 24, you should be getting 2,116.80. And calculate the interest paid over the life of the loan. So we already know it's the difference. If you subtract 88, if you subtract 1921, so let's actually do that. 216.8 minus 1921 is $195.80. Please complete the check your understanding question. There's one question there, and then you can reference my answer. Please let me know if you have any question. Thank you.